fighter has the highest fight IQ?
I don't think there's nobody in the game that has the fight IQ that I have.
Off the charts.
His fucking IQ
The
is
highest
insane.
fight IQ maybe ever.
This guy hits hard. He's tough. He's this, he's that. And this guy has a dream. But my fight IQ will win this fight.
IQ podcast. Today, we're going to be bringing you our top 5 biggest buzzkills on the UFC roster. We've each compiled a list of 5 fighters. We've narrowed it down. And essentially what these fighters are to us is when we are watching a fight card, or if we look up a fight card beforehand, we see a guy or a gal, most likely a gal, on there where we just say to ourselves, God damn it, we really have to fucking watch this fight. And listen, no offense to these people who are on our lists. This is just for fun. Although it is true, it's just for fun. So don't take it too seriously. My number 5, because I'm assuming we're going number 5 to number 1. Number 1 is like the biggest buzzkill.
100%.
I'm going to start out. My number 5 is Caitlin Chukagian.
Ooh.
I don't know if she's ever had a fun fight. She's very good at keeping distance and fighting the fight at her range. But at the end of the day, she's just like not willing to engage. She causes every fight to be boring, even if she's facing someone who is generally a good boxer. That's my number 5.
You know, that's funny. I almost put her on the list as well, but replaced her with Anthony Smith. Because the last handful of fights that I've seen Anthony Smith in, win, lose, I don't really care at this point. It's just one of those things where it's like, man, we got to watch another Anthony Smith fight. We have to sit there. And then I think the biggest problem for me is he's that guy that also is then talking about how Pereira is easily beatable and that how he sees all these holes in all these fighters' games, and then nothing ever happens.
Yeah, it's usually the fucking biggest buzzkill on the card who wins in very boring fashion and then describes how he would beat the champion.
100%.
Yeah. Martin, number 5.
My number 5 is going to be somebody that always gets these really marquee spots on a card, if not headlines a card. I feel like this is a good criteria for derailing a whole card, or just once you see that they have a new matchup, it just bums you the fuck out. You're like, damn it. It's going to be Holly Holm for me for number 5. Anytime I see Holly Holm on a card or anything like that, I'm just like, all right, I'm in for a fucking 25-minute decision that's of her fucking, shadow boxing from range and trying to hold somebody against the fence. She hasn't had a good fight in a long ass time.
Yeah,
anytime I see her anywhere near a UFC card, I get pretty pissed off,
Definitely. The age too makes it even worse.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, on to number 4. My number 4 biggest buzzkill is Austin Hubbard.
Damn.
Bro.
Oh, we don't know each other's lists beforehand, by the way.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we wanted this to be like genuine reaction to each other's lists. So yeah, sorry, Austin Hubbard. You're number 4. I don't know if I've ever seen. I've been watching the sport since like seriously since like 2013, 2014. I don't know if I've ever seen you get a finish. For that reason, sorry, Austin, you're my number 4.
My number 4 might be a little controversial. Some people probably aren't going to agree with me, and I don't really care. Again, another headlining kind of situation. Unfortunately, a champ that we have to sit down and watch every so often now. It's got to be Merab.
Oh.
Bro,
Merab's a big one for me, man. He say what you will, cardio monster, weaponized cardio, what? Dude, I do not care to see 37 missed takedowns in a fight. It doesn't matter. I don't care. It makes it really rough to put that as like, oh man, this is probably going to be a numbered card and he's probably going to be the headliner or the co-main. And that bums me out every time.
That's a fair take, honestly, man.
It's a big one, bro.
I wanted to disagree with you, but I just couldn't.
Yeah, it's like
please.
At the end of the day, what these derailers also do is they can be put in a very fun matchup with somebody who's very entertaining, and they'll still find a way to make it a lame fucking fight.
Yeah, that's
that
one of my
want to be
criteria,
over.
for sure.
You know, you want it to end, you know, and then by the end of the fight, when you're like, oh, I wonder who won that, when it inevitably goes to decision, you're like, who the fuck cares, you know?
Yeah.
Who cares who won that one?
Yeah, part of
I
it
guess
too is like
48-47. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, like when a fight gets to the judges' scorecards and like you just walk away and do something else, or if you're able to skip forward, like you're like, I literally don't even care who they announce as the winner here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm also glad that you picked a champ, because I'm going to pick somebody that's a former champ that's probably going to be getting a title shot soon. My fourth card derailer and just aura killer of a card at this point is going to be Sean Strickland. Anytime I think that dude's going to fight, I'm just depressed. And he's derailing a really fun matchup right now with Hamzat versus DDP if they give him the title shot. But ultimately, his style is just very boring, and I cannot see myself getting excited to watch him fight again. So if he's put on a card, it's going to bum me out just a little bit, but he's going to be around to stay for a while.
Yeah, he does a good job at like making us think it's going to be a good fight.
That's how he gets you,
I
dude.
will give him that.
And I fell for it. I fell for it for a while, dude.
Yeah.
And you know, after, you know, his last few performances, I'm just like, all right, man, if that's how you're going to fight, man, that's how excited I'm going to be to watch you fight in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, on to my number 3. My number 3, I think this is a pretty accurate card derailer. This is someone that, like you were describing before, could go against, and his last, like, one of his last good wins was up against like a surging prospect who was finishing everybody, and he just turned it into like the worst decision ever. My number 3, Nicholas Dalby. This dude, bro, he's
These are some deep cuts, bro.
Bro, he is the king. Nicholas Dalby is the king of moving so much without actually doing anything. Everyone's like, oh my God, Nicholas Dalby's cardio is so amazing because he's like moving so much. He's like got so much erratic movement, and he's still able to like put whatever. Like, that's not good. He's doing a lot of unnecessary movement. And it's like one of those guys that like, if he throws a feint, you don't bite on it, because he's just like, that's all he does is feint and then punch his way, like throw like a weird like walking punching combination and gets you up against the fence, and is just like using all his strength to just pin you against the fence. To me, number 3, Nicholas Dalby.
Nice. My number 3, I went up to heavyweight. Much like that, somebody that loves to pin people is Jailton Almeida. And it's a bummer because it's a fun division. It usually results in knockouts, right? Like, that's, I think, why people end up watching the heavyweight division. It's not because they're super athletic. It's not because they're doing crazy shit that nobody else is. It's because they lack kind of that ability to like, oh, well, it might be one shot and that's the whole thing. And his last performance against Derek Lewis had to have been some of the lamest 3-round heavyweight action I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a little bit of recency bias, though. I feel like Jailton Almeida was
for sure
finishing everybody until he got to the top of the division.
Yeah. He's new to the derailer list for sure.
Didn't he finish Curtis Blades, or did he get finished by Curtis Blades? How did that go?
Curtis Blades KO'd him.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's the elbow one.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Fucking nasty. Well, he had it coming, I guess.
Controversial.
Yeah.
Alrighty, my next one, I don't feel like it's very controversial. I'm going to go with Pedro Munoz. I feel like no matter what kind of fight he's in, he has no entertaining aspects to his game. I can't remember, do you remember that Pedro Munoz fight? Like, that was fucking sick. But he's always in these, like, really marquee spots on the card, like featured fight, third fight on the main card type places against pretty solid opponents. And I don't know how he manages to make him boring. You know, he made a Sean O'Malley fight boring as hell, which is pretty for an entire round and a half, and then it just fizzled out. So, yeah, Pedro Munoz. Anytime I see him on a card, I'm like, that's going to be a waste of about 15 minutes.
You know, I would disagree in the sense that he's got a boring fighting style. I don't think he does, but what I think he lacks is a little bit of ability to close the range properly. And that leads him to like not really landing many of his strikes. Like his technique is good, his aggression is fine, but I think like his range, his ability to not close the gap.
Yeah,
And,
I mean
really- Go ahead.
the last big fight that I remember being excited about anything that Pedro Munoz did was when he knocked out Cody Garbrandt.
And
That was the last big.
That was at a time where Cody Garbrandt had that one giant hole in his game of like getting stuck in the pocket, exchanging hooks, and everybody figured it out before he did.
Yep.
So everybody just knew, just like get him exchanging in the pocket and then just bomb fucking hooks with him. And as long as you're defensively sound, you're gonna win.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess like currently, as far as current events go, I would agree with some of these picks, but I think like for me, for you to be a true buzzkill, like I have to have never been excited to watch a fight of yours from debut to current events. And like Pedro has had a few exciting fights. He's got like 2 or 3 TKOs in the UFC. I think, you know, but I will agree, like as of late, like it's been years since I've been excited for a Pedro Munoz fight.
Yeah, so that's what I'm, because some of these fighters on my list have had exciting performances in their career, and maybe they've just fizzled out for a while, you know?
Yeah.
For a long period of time. And
Which
it's like, all right, at this point, I'm just going to have to assume you're a lame fighter that's going to suck all of the energy out of a card, you know?
Yeah.
All right, on to the number 2 spot. So second biggest buzzkill on my list. Sorry to do it to you. I think you've actually won a few split decisions that the judges didn't give your way, but that has no bearing on this. Angela Hill, you're my number 2. I feel like when she hits someone with a punch, her like wrist bends. You know what I mean? Like she throws like this, and like I just feel like she just has nothing behind her punches. She can land good punches, but nothing's ever going to happen. She has like leg kicks where she doesn't fully turn her hip into it and then gets countered, and the leg kick was all for naught because it had 0 power behind it. Yeah, man. Angela Hill, sorry to do it to you, but you're my number 2.
Well, my number 2 falls under the criteria of definitely has never had a fun fight. I've never enjoyed watching him. Has had almost entirely a career based on decisions, and that is the great white Alex Morono.
Oh, nice. Good one, dude. Hell yeah.
Dude, I was looking back. I mean, we're talking about like Nico Price. He had Buckley, Ponzinibbio, Semmelsberger, like all of these names that normally end up being fun fights. But I mean, the dude decisioned Mickey Gall.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Pretty wild. Enough said on that. I mean, decisioning Mickey Gall is enough. Yeah. Martin, you're number 2.
My number 2 is going to be somebody that I cannot remember ever having a fun performance. The one good memory I have is Khalil Roundtree coming back from Thailand and just leg kicking the fuck out of this person, and that's like was the most entertained I've ever been watching Eric Anders fight. Eric, your boy Anders, you know, former football player, and he seems like a fun dude on the mic, you know, but every single fight of his, it's very sloppy and amateur, and there's no real finishing potential on his end, really. He doesn't really get that many finishes. Anytime he's on a card, it's pretty high level. He was about to be the featured prelim, I think, of this last pay-per-view. So, yeah, and I was really bummed out. And he's actually the reason we made this whole video, because we were so stoked that this fight got canceled between Chris Weidman. It brought us genuine happiness that we didn't have to sit through 15 minutes of that. And it would have been perfect to derail a card, because at that time where he was about to be, he would have finish, KO, submission, and then Eric Anders versus Chris Weidman, and then Mauricio Rufy to, like, you know, it's just like
yeah, he would have like legitimately dropped the stock of the entire card in that moment. It was going so
Exactly.
well, and then done. My number one. I don't think he could be in any other place other than number one. Alex Morono. I was not, dude. I was not expecting either of you to put him on the list, even though he's clearly the most obvious choice. Yeah. I mean, number one, Alex Morono. Like, it doesn't need an explanation. And I do apologize. You know, like I said, this is just for fun. But never been excited to watch an Alex Morono fight. In fact, I get legitimately on the verge of angry when he shows up on the card. So for me, he deserves no other place but number one buzzkill on the UFC roster.
And you know, my number one is entirely based on the calculation of how much life I've lost attempting to hope that this person was going to do better. And that number one for me is Holly Holm, for sure. The amount of time that she has taken main event spots, pay-per-view spots, 5-round spots, and then wasted 25 minutes of my evening. I cannot think of another fighter who has done that to me more times than Holly Holm. Because of the hope that we get another, you know, Ronda Rousey head kick, and it's never going to happen. Yeah. It's never going to happen again. I don't know why we keep thinking that all of a sudden Holly Holm is going to be 26 again, but gotta be my number one for sure.
Good number one. That's a good number one.
Yeah.
Martin,
my number one has not had a good fight in years. She had a great title run. She's finished 2 of probably the greatest strawweight fighters ever, including my favorite strawweight to ever compete, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I'm gonna go Thug Rose. She's always in these crazy important matchups, always fighting like the top 2 or 3 of her division in these main event, co-main event spots for 25 minutes. Or recently a 3-round fight. Thank God they're starting to fucking knock her lower down the card. But every one of these performances, I'm just waiting for it to be over, or I just want to skip it. And then when she gets main event spots, I'm pissed off. You know, I'm like, this is a waste. And I if it's main event in front of a crowd, I'm like, these people are getting scammed. Like they're being forced to watch some terrible fighting for 25 minutes.
Yeah, making people pay for a 2024 Thug Rose is crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah. And I don't think I'm hoping, you know, the longer this goes on, the more people realize that she's never going to be in a fun fight again. But let's just start putting her on the prelims. Like, fuck. Like,
yeah, definitely no reason for any more 5-round fights. No reason for that.
There's no real ending in sight for this. You know, either she's firing her good coaches, and you know, her fighting style is looking worse and worse every single performance.
Unfortunate. Well, guys, those are our top 5 lists of our biggest buzzkills on the UFC roster. Let us know. Write down a list of 5 in the comments if you can think of some. That's that. Sorry. It's all for fun. Adios.
I'm the best.